1% better every day. The key to mastering lifelong growth, written and published by Elevate Audiobooks. Introduction. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. What if I told you that transforming your life doesn't require drastic changes, that the real secret to success isn't found in sudden breakthroughs, but in the small, consistent actions you take every day? This is the power of 1% better every day, a simple yet life-changing philosophy that proves tiny improvements, compounded over time, lead to extraordinary results. Think about a plane adjusting its course by just 1 degree. Over a short distance, the difference is negligible. But over thousands of miles, that tiny shift changes the entire destination. Your life works the same way. The small choices you make daily, your habits, mindset, and actions, determine the trajectory of your future. The 1% rule is how elite athletes, top performers, and successful entrepreneurs achieve mastery. They don't rely on motivation alone. They focus on steady, incremental progress, because small wins create momentum, and momentum fuels success. In this audiobook, you'll discover the science of continuous improvement, the psychology behind lasting habits, and proven strategies to apply the 1% principle to every area of your life. Your career, relationships, finances, and health. Your journey starts now, not with overwhelming changes, but with a single intentional step. Because when you commit to getting 1% better every day, success isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Science of Small Wins. Success isn't built overnight. It's not the result of one grand action, but rather a series of small, consistent improvements that compound over time. This is the essence of the 1% rule, a philosophy rooted in science, psychology, and real-world success stories. While most people chase quick fixes and overnight transformations, those who truly succeed understand that progress is a game of inches, not miles. They focus on getting just 1% better every day, knowing that these small gains will eventually lead to massive outcomes. The power of small improvements can be best understood through the concept of compound growth. Just as money in a savings account grows exponentially due to interest, your habits, skills, and knowledge compound when you make slight, consistent progress. Mathematically, if you improve by just 1% daily, you won't just be 365% better by the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better due to compounding. Conversely, if you decline by 1% each day, you don't just stay the same, you deteriorate to nearly zero. This simple yet powerful truth highlights why consistency trumps intensity when it comes to success. The human brain is wired to respond to progress. Dopamine, also called the motivation molecule, is released when we experience small wins, creating a feedback loop that encourages us to keep going. Studies show that when we break large goals into smaller milestones, we are far more likely to stay committed. Take, for example, James Clear's research in Atomic Habits, where he explains how tiny behavioral adjustments, like reading 1 page a day or doing 1 push-up, lead to substantial change over time. The problem is that most people overlook these small improvements because they seem insignificant at first. When we don't see immediate results, we become discouraged and quit. But success isn't about instant gratification, it's about sustained effort. Consider the British cycling team, a perfect real-world example of the 1% rule in action. Before 2003, British cycling was mediocre at best, having won only 1 Olympic gold medal in nearly a century. Then came Dave Brailsford, a coach who introduced the concept of marginal gains, the belief that if you improve everything by just 1%, the cumulative effect will be extraordinary. The team optimized tiny details, adjusting bike seats for better posture, improving sleep for better recovery, and even testing which massage gels helped riders recover faster. These minuscule tweaks, when compounded, led to a transformation. In the 2008 and 2012 Olympics, the British cycling team dominated, winning an unprecedented 16 gold medals. In just 5 years, they became the best in the world, all because they focused on getting slightly better every day. The 1% rule applies beyond sports. Think about Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time. He didn't amass his fortune through risky bets or sudden windfalls. Instead, he focused on consistent long-term investments, leveraging the power of compounding. His philosophy is simple: small, smart financial decisions made consistently over decades lead to enormous wealth. The same principle holds true for personal development, health, and career growth. But if the 1% rule is so effective, why doesn't everyone follow it? The answer lies in human psychology. We are conditioned to seek quick rewards, and when progress feels slow, we become impatient. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, the idea of waiting months or years to see results seems unappealing. However, those who understand the power of delayed gratification, who stay committed even when progress is invisible, are the ones who ultimately succeed. To make this principle work for you, start by focusing on small, easy-to-win goals. If you want to become a writer, don't aim to write a novel in a month, just write 100 words a day. If you want to get fit, don't force yourself into an extreme workout, just commit to 10 minutes of exercise. The key is to create momentum, because once you start seeing progress, even in tiny increments, you'll be motivated to keep going. Remember, success isn't about making huge changes all at once. It's about making small, smart choices consistently. As you move forward, embrace the 1% better mindset in everything you do. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. The small wins you accumulate today will become the foundation of something much greater tomorrow. The only question is, are you willing to start? Chapter 2. The Mindset Shift from Stagnation to Growth. The greatest obstacle to personal growth isn't lack of resources, intelligence, or talent. It's mindset. The way you perceive challenges, failures, and progress dictates whether you stagnate or thrive. Those who embrace growth see every setback as a lesson, every obstacle as an opportunity, and every effort as a step forward. But those stuck in a fixed mindset remain trapped by self-doubt, fear of failure, and an unwillingness to step outside their comfort zone. If you want to master lifelong growth, the first and most critical shift is in your mindset. Psychologist Carol Dweck introduced the concept of growth versus fixed mindset after studying how people react to failure. She found that individuals with a fixed mindset believe their abilities, intelligence, and talents are set in stone. They see effort as useless, failure as proof of incompetence, and challenges as threats to their self-worth. On the other hand, those with a growth mindset understand that skills can be developed, intelligence can be expanded, and failure is merely part of the learning process. This small yet profound difference separates those who plateau from those who achieve greatness. Consider two students facing the same difficult math problem. The first student, believing they are not a math person, immediately gives up. They avoid asking questions, fearing it will make them look dumb. Their belief in their own limitation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Meanwhile, the second student, embracing a growth mindset, struggles but persists. They ask for help, attempt different approaches, and gradually improve. Over time, their effort compounds, and they become proficient, not because they were naturally gifted, but because they refused to let difficulty define them. This principle applies to every aspect of life: career, fitness, relationships, and personal development. Those with a fixed mindset avoid feedback because they equate it with criticism, whereas those with a growth mindset welcome feedback as a tool for improvement. The difference isn't in capability, but in perspective. If you believe you can grow, you take action to prove yourself right. If you believe you're stuck, you unconsciously behave in ways that keep you there. One of the biggest barriers to developing a growth mindset is fear of failure. Many people are paralyzed by the idea of making mistakes because society conditions us to view failure as a final verdict rather than a stepping stone. Think about how we celebrate natural talent while overlooking the years of struggle behind it. We admire world-class athletes, musicians, and entrepreneurs, but rarely do we acknowledge the thousands of hours they spent failing, adjusting, and improving. Every success story is built on a mountain of failures, but the difference lies in how those failures are perceived. Take Thomas Edison, for example. When inventing the light bulb, he reportedly failed over 10,000 times before succeeding. But when asked about his failures, he simply said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This is the essence of a growth mindset, seeing every failure as data, every setback as an experiment, and every struggle as necessary progress. Another powerful example is Michael Jordan, widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Early in his career, he was cut from his high school basketball team. Instead of accepting defeat, he trained harder, viewing the rejection as motivation rather than proof of his inadequacy. His famous quote, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed," encapsulates the essence of a growth mindset. His legendary career wasn't built on effortless talent, but on relentless perseverance. Developing a growth mindset starts with reframing challenges and failures. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," say, "I can't do this yet." Instead of avoiding hard tasks, embrace them as learning opportunities. View effort as an investment rather than a struggle. Studies show that people who adopt a yet mentality, believing that improvement is always possible, are more resilient, more successful, and more likely to achieve their goals. Another key aspect of shifting from stagnation to growth is changing the way you talk to yourself. Your inner dialogue plays a crucial role in shaping your beliefs and actions. Many people unconsciously sabotage their progress with negative self-talk. "I'll never be good at this. I'm too old to learn. Success is for other people." These thoughts act as mental roadblocks, preventing you from even trying. The most effective way to counteract this is through affirmations and cognitive reframing, consciously replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Instead of saying, "I'm bad at public speaking," say, "I'm improving my communication skills every day." Instead of saying, "I'll never be successful," say, "Every small step I take brings me closer to success." Words shape reality, and what you tell yourself matters. Another major shift in mindset involves embracing discomfort. Growth requires stepping outside of your comfort zone, yet many people resist because discomfort feels like danger. But discomfort is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of progress. Think about the process of building muscle. When you lift weights, you experience strain and fatigue, but that stress is what makes you stronger. The same principle applies to learning new skills, taking on challenges, and pushing your limits. The moments that feel most uncomfortable are the ones where real growth happens. One practical way to train a growth mindset is through deliberate challenges, actively seeking discomfort in small, controlled ways. This could mean striking up a conversation with a stranger if you fear social interactions, taking on a difficult project at work, or learning a new skill that intimidates you. Each time you push through discomfort, your brain rewires itself to handle challenges more effectively, and what once felt impossible starts to feel normal. In addition to embracing discomfort, it's essential to cultivate patience. Growth is a slow process, and many people give up because they expect immediate results. The most successful individuals understand that mastery takes time. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, once said, "All overnight success stories take about 10 years. True progress isn't measured in days or weeks, but in years of consistent effort." The 1% rule ties directly into this, understanding that small daily improvements will compound into success over time. To reinforce a growth mindset, surround yourself with growth-oriented people. The people you spend time with influence your beliefs and actions more than you realize. If you're constantly around negativity, doubt, and excuses, those attitudes will seep into your mindset. But if you surround yourself with individuals who embrace learning, persistence, and progress, you will naturally adopt those traits. Seek out mentors, join communities that value self-improvement, and consume content that challenges your thinking. At its core, shifting from stagnation to growth is about embracing the process of becoming, rather than obsessing over the end result. Every expert was once a beginner, every success story began with small steps, and every breakthrough was preceded by struggle. The difference between those who stay stagnant and those who achieve greatness isn't luck, talent, or intelligence, it's mindset. When you believe that growth is possible, you unlock a world of opportunities. So ask yourself, are you willing to embrace the journey of continuous improvement? Are you ready to shift your mindset from fixed to limitless? If the answer is yes, then you've already taken the first step toward mastering lifelong growth. Now it's time to put that mindset into action, one small step at a time. Chapter 3. The Power of Habit. Your habits shape your life more than your goals do. While goals provide direction, it is your daily routines, the small actions repeated consistently, that determine whether you move forward, stay stagnant, or fall behind. The difference between success and failure isn't found in a single breakthrough moment. It's hidden in the everyday choices you make. If you can master your habits, you can master your future. This chapter explores how habits are formed, how to break bad ones, and how to create a daily routine that ensures continuous self-improvement, just 1% better every day. The science of habit formation has been widely studied, and research shows that habits follow a predictable pattern: cue, routine, reward. This cycle, known as the habit loop, was popularized by Charles Duhigg in The Power of Habit. Every habit begins with a cue, a trigger that signals your brain to start a behavior. This is followed by the routine, which is the action itself, and finally, the reward, which reinforces the habit by providing a sense of satisfaction or relief. Understanding this loop is crucial for both building good habits and breaking bad ones. Take, for example, the habit of drinking coffee in the morning. The cue might be waking up and feeling groggy. The routine is making and drinking coffee, and the reward is the boost in alertness and energy. Over time, this cycle becomes automatic. The same process applies to negative habits. If someone eats junk food when stressed, the cue is stress, the routine is snacking, and the reward is temporary comfort. The problem is that many bad habits are simply inefficient solutions to a problem, like using food to cope with stress, rather than addressing the root cause. The key to habit change is to manipulate this cycle. If you want to break a bad habit, remove the cue or replace the routine with a healthier behavior. For example, if stress triggers unhealthy snacking, you could substitute it with a new routine, such as drinking water, deep breathing, or going for a short walk. If you want to build a new habit, make the cue obvious, the routine easy, and the reward satisfying. One of the best ways to build lasting habits is through habit stacking, a technique where you link a new habit to an existing one. Instead of trying to fit a new behavior into your schedule randomly, you attach it to something you already do. For example, if you want to start journaling but struggle to find time, you could attach it to an existing habit. After I brush my teeth at night, I will write 3 sentences in my journal. By anchoring the new habit to something familiar, it becomes easier to remember and follow through. Another key to habit formation is making small, manageable changes. Many people fail to build habits because they start too big. They attempt radical transformations overnight, like committing to a strict diet, an intense workout regimen, or reading for hours a day. But drastic changes often lead to burnout. Instead, start with tiny habits. If you want to read more, commit to just 1 page a day. If you want to exercise, start with 5 minutes. Small habits may seem insignificant at first, but they create momentum. Once the habit is in place, you can gradually increase the effort. One of the most powerful strategies for habit formation is tracking progress. When you visually track your habits, whether through a journal, an app, or a calendar, you create a sense of accountability. Psychologists call this the don't break the chain technique, where each completed action reinforces your commitment. If you're trying to build a daily meditation habit, marking and crosses on a calendar each time you meditate makes it more likely that you'll continue. Breaking the streak becomes psychologically harder than just doing the habit. However, perfection isn't the goal. Life happens, and sometimes you'll miss a habit. The critical rule is never miss twice. Skipping one day won't ruin your progress, but if you skip 2 days, you risk falling back into old patterns. James Clear, in Atomic Habits, emphasizes that what matters isn't being perfect, but getting back on track quickly. Instead of feeling guilty for missing a workout or breaking a habit streak, simply restart the next day. Progress isn't lost unless you quit entirely. One of the biggest obstacles to good habits is environmental design. Many people fail not because of lack of willpower, but because their environment makes bad habits easier and good habits harder. If you keep unhealthy snacks on your desk, you're more likely to eat them. If your phone is next to your bed, you're more likely to scroll late at night. Instead of relying on discipline alone, design your environment to support your habits. Want to drink more water? Keep a water bottle within reach. Want to read more? Place books where you'll see them. Want to exercise? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Small changes in your surroundings can significantly impact behavior. Another powerful technique is temptation bundling, pairing something you enjoy with something beneficial. If you struggle with working out, you can listen to your favorite podcast only while exercising. If you dislike studying, you can drink a cup of your favorite tea while reviewing notes. By linking a positive reward to a necessary habit, you increase motivation. Morning and evening routines play a crucial role in habit formation. The way you start and end your day sets the tone for everything in between. Highly successful people follow structured routines because they reduce decision fatigue and create a sense of stability. Your morning routine should focus on energy, clarity, and priority setting. This might include stretching, journaling, or planning your top tasks for the day. Your evening routine should focus on relaxation and preparation, such as reading, gratitude journaling, or setting up for the next day. A strong morning routine ensures you start the day with intention, while a structured evening routine helps you wind down and maintain consistency. Accountability also plays a vital role in habit formation. When you share your goals with someone else, you increase your likelihood of following through. Find an accountability partner, join a challenge, or publicly commit to your habits. Knowing someone else is tracking your progress adds an extra layer of motivation. Ultimately, the power of habit is what determines long-term success. The small things you do every day accumulate over time, shaping your identity and future. If you want to change your life, don't start with radical goals, start with tiny, consistent habits. The 1% better principle applies here. Small improvements, when compounded, create massive transformations. So ask yourself, what tiny habit can I start today? What small action can I take to move closer to my goals? Your future success isn't determined by grand gestures, but by the simple routines you choose to repeat. Master your habits, and you'll master your destiny. Chapter 4. Mastering time. Time is the most valuable resource we have, yet many people struggle to use it effectively. Unlike money, which can be earned back, or energy which can be replenished, once time is gone, it's gone forever. The difference between those who achieve success and those who remain stuck often comes down to how they manage their time. Productivity is not about working harder or longer, it's about working smarter. Mastering time means learning how to prioritize, focus, eliminate distractions, and maximize efficiency so that you make consistent, meaningful progress every day. One of the most powerful time management principles is the 80-20th rule, also known as the Pareto principle. It states that 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. In other words, not all tasks are equally important. A small portion of what you do contributes to the majority of your success. The problem is that most people spend too much time on low-value activities, responding to emails, checking notifications, doing minor tasks, while ignoring the high-impact activities that truly move the needle. To maximize productivity, you must identify the critical 20% of tasks that yield the highest results and focus your energy there. Instead of filling your day with endless to-do lists, prioritize the few tasks that truly matter. Another critical strategy for mastering time is time blocking, a technique used by highly successful individuals such as Elon Musk and Bill Gates. Time blocking involves scheduling specific periods for focused work, rather than relying on an open-ended task list. Instead of saying, "I'll work on this project sometime today," you set a specific time, such as from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., I will work on my report. By giving each task a dedicated time slot, you create structure, urgency, and accountability, reducing the temptation to procrastinate. This method also protects your deep work time, ensuring that distractions don't consume your most productive hours. Speaking of deep work, this concept, introduced by Cal Newport, is one of the most effective ways to achieve high levels of focus and efficiency. Deep work refers to uninterrupted, distraction-free work that pushes your cognitive abilities to the limit. In contrast, most people operate in a state of shallow work, constantly switching between tasks, responding to messages, and consuming fragmented information. The problem with shallow work is that it creates attention residue, meaning that every time you switch tasks, a portion of your attention remains stuck on the previous task. This reduces efficiency, increases mental fatigue, and lowers overall performance. To counter this, you must schedule deep work sessions, where you eliminate distractions and focus fully on one high-value task. One of the biggest threats to productivity today is digital distractions. Studies show that the average person checks their phone over 100 times a day and spends hours on social media, emails, and notifications. While these activities feel productive, they often steal time and attention from meaningful work. The key to overcoming distractions is designing your environment to support focus. This means turning off non-essential notifications, setting your phone to Do Not Disturb during deep work sessions, using website blockers, and working in a distraction-free zone. If possible, establish a dedicated workspace where your mind associates the environment with focus and efficiency. Another powerful time management tool is the 2-minute rule, introduced by productivity expert David Allen in Getting Things Done. The rule is simple: if a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This prevents minor tasks from accumulating into an overwhelming workload. Small things like responding to a quick email, organizing your desk, or noting down an idea should be handled instantly, rather than postponed. However, for tasks that require more time, schedule them instead of letting them disrupt your workflow. Procrastination is one of the biggest productivity killers, and overcoming it requires both awareness and strategy. Many people assume that procrastination is a sign of laziness, but in reality, it is often a result of fear, perfectionism, or lack of clarity. If a task feels overwhelming, your brain naturally avoids it. The solution: break tasks into smaller, manageable steps. Instead of saying, "I need to write a book," start with, "I'll write 100 words today." Instead of "I need to start a business," begin with "I'll research 5 business ideas today." Small steps eliminate mental resistance, making it easier to start. Another common reason for procrastination is lack of accountability. When a task has no deadline or external pressure, it's easy to delay it indefinitely. To counter this, use the commitment principle, set deadlines, share your goals with someone, or create consequences for inaction. Studies show that when people publicly commit to a goal, they are far more likely to follow through. If self-motivation isn't enough, find an accountability partner, join a group, or use a goal-tracking app to ensure you stay on track. One of the most underrated aspects of productivity is energy management. It's not just about managing time, it's about managing your mental and physical energy. Many people assume that working longer hours equals greater output, but research shows that productivity declines significantly after prolonged periods of work. Instead of forcing yourself to grind for hours without rest, adopt the Pomodoro technique, a time management method where you work in focused sprints, typically 25–50 minutes, followed by short breaks. This method optimizes focus, prevents burnout, and keeps your mind fresh. Additionally, proper sleep, nutrition, and exercise play a massive role in cognitive performance and efficiency. If you constantly feel drained, no productivity system will work. Prioritizing quality sleep, staying hydrated, and engaging in regular movement are simple but effective ways to boost mental clarity and stamina. Another vital productivity principle is saying no to unnecessary commitments. Many people struggle with time management because they take on too many obligations, leaving little room for their most important goals. Learning to set boundaries and protect your time is crucial. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something that matters. Before accepting a new task, ask yourself, does this align with my priorities? Is this the best use of my time? If not, decline it or delegate it. Finally, reviewing and adjusting your time management system is essential for long-term success. Productivity isn't about rigidly following a single method, it's about experimenting, refining, and adapting based on what works best for you. Take time each week to evaluate your progress, eliminate inefficiencies, and adjust your strategies. Successful people constantly optimize their approach to time management, ensuring that every hour spent contributes to meaningful progress. At the core of mastering time is the belief that small improvements, made consistently, lead to massive success. Just like the 1% better principle, optimizing your daily time management doesn't require drastic changes, just small, intentional adjustments that compound over time. Now, ask yourself, how are you spending your time? Are your daily actions aligned with your long-term goals? What small changes can you make today to reclaim your time and maximize your productivity? Your future success isn't determined by how much time you have, it's determined by how you use it. Master your time, and you'll master your life. Chapter 5. The Role of Failure. Failure is an inevitable part of life. No matter how intelligent, talented, or hardworking you are, you will encounter setbacks. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck isn't that successful. People avoid failure. It's that they use it as a stepping stone. They don't see failure as the end of the road, but as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. If you want to grow continuously, you must reframe failure, seeing it not as a sign of defeat, but as an essential part of progress. The 1% better mindset isn't about avoiding failure, it's about learning from it, adjusting, and moving forward stronger than before. Many of the world's most accomplished individuals failed, repeatedly, before they achieved success. Take Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." When inventing the light bulb, Edison encountered thousands of failed experiments. Instead of seeing each failure as a loss, he viewed them as necessary steps toward his breakthrough. This mindset is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Those who achieve greatness are not those who never fail, but those who never quit. Another powerful example is Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Most people remember his championships and scoring records, but few remember that he was once cut from his high school basketball team. Instead of letting failure define him, Jordan used it as motivation to train harder, improve his skills, and prove his worth. He later stated, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." His career was built on persistence, resilience, and learning from setbacks, a true testament to the power of using failure as fuel for growth. So why do so many people fear failure? The answer lies in how we are conditioned to perceive it. From a young age, most of us are taught that failure is something to avoid. Schools penalize mistakes, workplaces discourage risks, and society often ridicules those who fail publicly. Over time, this creates a fear of failure so strong that people stop taking risks altogether. They become hesitant to try new things, afraid to step outside their comfort zones, and paralyzed by the thought of making mistakes. But the truth is, failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a prerequisite for it. If you analyze the lives of high achievers, you'll notice a common theme. They fail more than others because they attempt more than others. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, has stated that Amazon's massive success is directly tied to its willingness to fail. He believes that experimentation leads to breakthroughs, and experimentation always involves the risk of failure. Without the willingness to fail, Amazon would have never innovated, never expanded, and never dominated the global market. One of the most effective ways to overcome the fear of failure is to reframe it as feedback. Instead of seeing failure as a personal flaw, view it as valuable information. When something doesn't work, it's not a reflection of your worth, it's simply data. It tells you what needs improvement, what adjustments are necessary, and how to refine your approach. Successful people don't just move on from failure, they analyze it, extract lessons from it, and apply those lessons moving forward. This is how real progress happens. Another crucial aspect of handling failure is building resilience. Resilience isn't about avoiding difficulties, it's about developing the mental strength to bounce back from setbacks. One way to do this is by practicing emotional detachment from failure. Instead of saying, "I am a failure," say, "This strategy didn't work." Instead of thinking, "I'll never be good at this," say, "I haven't mastered it yet." The way you talk to yourself about failure influences whether you use it as motivation or allow it to defeat you. One strategy that helps reframe failure is the "what did I learn" method. Each time you experience a setback, take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, what went wrong? Identify the specific mistake or issue. What could I have done differently? Analyze alternative approaches. What lesson can I apply moving forward? Turn the failure into a tool for improvement. By making this a habit, failure no longer becomes something to fear. It becomes a mechanism for growth and mastery. Another important aspect of dealing with failure is understanding the difference between temporary failure and giving up. When you fail at something, it's easy to assume that you're simply not good enough or that you should quit. But often, the only real difference between those who succeed and those who fail is perseverance. Many people quit too soon, right before they're about to break through. Success often takes longer than expected, and setbacks are part of the process. The key is to keep going. There's a Japanese proverb that perfectly captures this idea: fall 7 times, stand up 8. The most successful individuals expect failure, prepare for it, and keep pushing forward, despite it. This resilience is what ultimately separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. However, there's also a smart way to fail: failing forward. Failing forward means failing in a way that moves you closer to your goal, rather than setting you back. This involves failing fast. Instead of dragging out an unproductive approach, recognize failure quickly and pivot. Failing with purpose. Learn from mistakes and apply those lessons immediately. Failing small. Instead of taking massive high-risk failures, take small, calculated risks where failure is manageable and informative. When you fail forward, every mistake becomes a step toward success rather than an obstacle in your path. The most powerful shift you can make is to see failure as part of your personal evolution. The person you are today is different from the person you were 5 years ago because of the lessons you've learned from mistakes, challenges, and setbacks. Growth is not a straight line, It's a series of ups and downs, adjustments and improvements, failures and recoveries. The key is to keep learning, keep adjusting, and never let failure define you. Ask yourself, how do you currently react to failure? Do you avoid risks out of fear of making mistakes, or do you embrace challenges knowing they will make you stronger? If you want to master lifelong growth, you must shift your mindset about failure. It is not something to avoid, it is something to embrace. It is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of effort, and most importantly, it is not permanent unless you choose to stop trying. The path to success is paved with failures. The question is, will you use them as stepping stones or roadblocks? The choice is yours. Chapter 6. The 1% Rule in Health and Fitness. Health is the foundation of everything in life. No matter how ambitious your goals are, no matter how determined you are to succeed, without good health, everything else becomes harder. Your energy, focus, productivity, and even emotional resilience all depend on your physical well-being. Yet, despite knowing this, many people struggle to maintain a healthy lifestyle. They see fitness as an overwhelming task, requiring strict diets, intense workout regimens, and radical lifestyle changes. But just like any other area of self-improvement, the key to better health is small, consistent progress. The 1% rule applies to health just as it does to mindset, habits, and success. Small improvements made daily lead to massive transformations over time. One of the biggest misconceptions about health and fitness is that it requires drastic effort to see results. People believe they need to cut out all sugar, work out for hours every day, or follow extreme diets to get fit. But this all-or-nothing thinking often leads to failure. They start strong, but because the changes are too extreme, they eventually burn out and quit. The truth is, health isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. The best approach isn't to overhaul your lifestyle overnight, but to make tiny, sustainable adjustments that you can maintain in the long run. A 1% improvement every day in your health choices will yield incredible results over time. One of the simplest ways to improve your health is to focus on movement. Exercise doesn't have to mean going to the gym for 2 hours a day. It can be as simple as taking the stairs instead of the elevator, walking instead of driving short distances, or stretching for 5 minutes in the morning. Studies show that even small amounts of daily movement can significantly reduce the risk of chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. If you're someone who struggles with working out, don't aim for an intense fitness routine right away. Start with 5 minutes a day. Walk for 5 minutes, do a few push-ups, or stretch for a few minutes before bed. As you build momentum, gradually increase the duration and intensity. Over time, these small movements compound into a healthier, more active lifestyle. In addition to movement, nutrition is a crucial aspect of health. But again, most people approach it with an extreme mindset. They try crash diets, completely cutting out carbs or sugar, only to fall back into old eating habits when they can't sustain the restrictions. Instead of drastic dieting, apply the 1% rule to nutrition. Make small but meaningful changes to what you eat. Start by adding 1 extra serving of vegetables to your meals. Replace one unhealthy snack with a healthier option. Drink 1 more glass of water each day. These small changes may seem insignificant at first, but over time, they transform your eating habits completely. Rather than focusing on restriction, focus on addition, adding more whole, nutrient-rich foods, rather than obsessing over eliminating the bad ones. When you make better choices repeatedly, they become habits, and eventually, they reshape your diet without feeling like an effort. Hydration is another often overlooked but critical factor in health. The human body is mostly water, and dehydration affects everything from brain function to metabolism. Many people suffer from low energy and headaches simply because they don't drink enough water. A simple yet effective 1% improvement in health is to drink 1 extra glass of water per day. Over time, this small habit becomes natural, and before you know it, staying hydrated becomes effortless. Sleep is another cornerstone of health that most people neglect. In a culture that glorifies hustle and busyness, sleep is often sacrificed in the name of productivity. But lack of sleep doesn't make you more productive. It makes you less efficient, more fatigued, and more prone to burnout. Studies have shown that chronic sleep deprivation increases the risk of weight gain, weakens the immune system, and reduces cognitive performance. Instead of making radical changes to your sleep schedule overnight, apply the 1% principle. Go to bed 5 minutes earlier each night until you establish a healthier sleep routine. Gradually reducing screen time before bed, dimming the lights, and following a relaxing bedtime routine can significantly improve sleep quality over time. When you sleep better, everything else in life, your focus, energy, motivation, improves as well. Stress management is another essential component of health, yet most people ignore it until it becomes overwhelming. Chronic stress affects both mental and physical health, leading to high blood pressure, digestive issues, and even weakened immunity. The 1% improvement approach applies here as well. Instead of expecting stress to disappear completely, introduce small stress management habits into your daily routine. Take one deep breath before responding to a stressful situation. Spend 1 extra minute in silence each morning. Write down one thing you're grateful for before bed. These small shifts help rewire the brain for resilience, reducing stress over time. One of the biggest obstacles to a healthier lifestyle is lack of motivation. People often start strong but lose momentum when results don't come fast enough. This is where habit stacking and accountability come in. Habit stacking involves linking a new healthy habit to an existing one, making it easier to stick with. For example, if you already drink coffee every morning, add a short stretching routine while the coffee brews. If you watch TV in the evening, do 5 push-ups during commercial breaks. These tiny habits add up, making healthy living feel natural rather than forced. Accountability is another powerful tool. Find a workout partner, join a fitness group, or track your progress in a journal. When you see small wins, you stay motivated to continue. The key to long-term success isn't relying on motivation, it's building habits that become automatic. Mental health is just as important as physical health, and small daily improvements can significantly impact well-being. Practicing mindfulness, journaling, spending time in nature, or simply taking a few minutes to pause and breathe deeply can reduce anxiety and increase mental clarity. The 1% better approach means you don't have to commit to an hour of meditation or drastic lifestyle changes. Just small moments of mindfulness each day can create a lasting positive impact. The biggest takeaway is this: your health is the result of your daily habits, not occasional big efforts. Crash diets, extreme workouts, and temporary motivation don't create lasting change, but small, consistent improvements do. Whether it's moving more, eating better, sleeping earlier, or managing stress, the 1% rule ensures progress without overwhelm. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be a little better today than you were yesterday. The question is, what is one small manageable health habit you can improve today? It could be drinking 1 more glass of water, taking a 10-minute walk, or reducing screen time before bed. Whatever it is, start small, stay consistent, and let compounding improvements lead to long-term transformation. Health isn't a destination, it's a lifelong journey. And the best part, you only need to focus on being 1% better every day. Chapter 7. The 1% Rule in Relationships and Communication. Relationships are the foundation of human experience. Whether in our personal lives or professional careers, the quality of our relationships determines our level of fulfillment, success, and overall happiness. Yet, many people assume that strong relationships either happen naturally or require grand gestures to sustain. The truth is, great relationships are built in the same way as personal growth, through small, consistent efforts over time. Applying the 1% rule to relationships means focusing on making minor but meaningful improvements in how you communicate, connect, and interact with others. Over time, these small changes compound, leading to deeper trust, stronger bonds, and more fulfilling relationships. One of the most overlooked aspects of relationship building is active listening. Most people listen to reply rather than to understand. They are so focused on preparing their response that they miss the opportunity to genuinely connect. The key to stronger relationships isn't in talking more, it's in listening better. A simple but effective 1% improvement is to practice mindful listening. This means giving the other person your full attention, making eye contact, and truly absorbing what they are saying before formulating a response. By doing this, you validate their thoughts and emotions, making them feel heard and valued. Over time, this small habit transforms relationships, as people naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel understood. Another essential element of communication is expressing appreciation. Many relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, suffer not because of a lack of love or respect, but because appreciation is not regularly expressed. It's easy to assume that the people in our lives know how much we value them, but without verbal or visible acknowledgement, those feelings can fade. A simple 1% improvement is to make appreciation a daily habit. Compliment your partner on something specific, thank a colleague for their effort, or send a quick text to a friend expressing gratitude. These small moments of appreciation may seem insignificant in isolation, but over time they reinforce bonds and create a more positive, emotionally connected relationship. Another key principle in relationship building is empathy, the ability to see the world from another person's perspective. Many conflicts arise not because of real incompatibility, but because people fail to understand each other's point of view. The next time you disagree with someone, pause and ask yourself, how does this situation look from their perspective? This small habit of momentary reflection before reacting can prevent unnecessary conflicts and foster a more compassionate way of interacting. Even in difficult conversations, acknowledging someone's feelings before presenting your argument makes it more likely that they will listen and engage constructively. Strong relationships also require regular check-ins and quality time. In today's fast-paced world, many people take their relationships for granted, assuming that they will sustain themselves without effort. But just like any aspect of self-improvement, relationships require intentional nurturing. A simple 1% improvement is to schedule small but meaningful moments of connection. This could be as simple as asking your partner about their day with genuine curiosity, having a 5-minute meaningful conversation with a friend, or checking in with a family member once a week. Over time, these small acts accumulate, strengthening bonds and preventing relationships from drifting apart. In professional settings, strong relationships can determine career success. People tend to assume that skills and talent alone drive success, but research consistently shows that interpersonal relationships and networking play a crucial role. One of the best ways to apply the 1% rule in professional relationships is to offer value before expecting anything in return. Instead of only reaching out to colleagues or contacts when you need something, find small ways to contribute first, sharing a useful article, offering assistance, or simply acknowledging their work. These small goodwill-building actions establish trust and reciprocity, making it more likely that people will support you when you need them. Another aspect of professional relationships is learning to handle criticism constructively. Many people fear feedback because they equate it with failure, but in reality, feedback is one of the most valuable tools for growth. The 1% improvement approach here is to shift your mindset. Instead of seeing criticism as personal, view it as an opportunity for refinement. The next time you receive feedback, practice pausing before reacting defensively. Ask yourself, what part of this feedback can I use to improve? By making this small adjustment, you open the door to continuous learning and stronger professional relationships. One of the greatest challenges in relationships is handling conflict effectively. Many people approach conflict with an all-or-nothing mindset, where they either avoid confrontation entirely or react with emotional intensity. But conflict itself is not the problem. it's how we handle it that determines the outcome. A small but powerful 1% improvement is to practice calm and solution-focused communication during disagreements. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," reframe it as, "I feel unheard when I try to express myself, and I would really appreciate if we could work on that." Small shifts in language reduce defensiveness and make it easier to resolve conflicts without escalating them. Another aspect of improving relationships is developing the habit of forgiveness. Holding on to resentment doesn't just harm relationships, it also negatively impacts mental and emotional well-being. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing bad behavior, but rather releasing the emotional weight it carries. A simple 1% improvement is to practice letting go of small irritations instead of accumulating them. If a friend cancels plans last minute, instead of dwelling on frustration, remind yourself that everyone has off days. Over time, adopting an attitude of compassion and understanding strengthens relationships and fosters emotional peace. In romantic relationships, small daily actions often matter more than occasional grand gestures. A successful marriage or long-term partnership isn't built on big, dramatic displays of love, but on consistent, thoughtful moments of connection. Research from relationship expert Dr. John Gottman suggests that happy couples engage in daily habits that nurture their bond. Things as simple as a warm greeting, a compliment, a brief hug, or a shared moment of laughter. The 1% improvement approach here is to focus on small daily acts of kindness and connection, rather than waiting for big moments to express love and appreciation. Friendships, too, require ongoing effort to maintain. Many people struggle to keep friendships alive because they assume that relationships will last without effort. But friendships, like any other relationship, require intentionality. A small but meaningful improvement is to reach out to a friend once a week, whether through a text, a call, or a short meetup. Even if life gets busy, these small touchpoints keep friendships strong over time. Ultimately, strong relationships are not built in a day, they are built daily. Whether in personal life, professional settings, or romantic partnerships, applying the 1% rule means making small but intentional improvements in the way you listen, communicate, show appreciation, and resolve conflicts. The question to ask yourself is, what is one small action I can take today to strengthen a relationship in my life? It could be sending a message of gratitude, listening more attentively, forgiving a small grievance, or simply making time for meaningful connection. Relationships thrive not because of big, infrequent efforts, but because of consistent, small acts of care, empathy, and communication. The secret to lifelong meaningful relationships is simple: be 1% better every day. Chapter 8. Financial Growth. The 1% approach to wealth. Money plays a crucial role in our lives, influencing our freedom, opportunities, and overall quality of life. Yet, financial growth often feels overwhelming for many people. Some struggle with saving, others live paycheck to paycheck, and many never learn the skills necessary to build long-term wealth. The common misconception is that financial success requires either a high income or drastic lifestyle changes, but in reality, wealth is built just like anything else, through small, consistent improvements over time. The 1% rule applies to finances in the same way it does to health, relationships, and productivity. You don't need to overhaul your entire financial situation overnight. You just need to improve one small financial habit at a time. Over time, these small disciplined actions compound, leading to financial security, stability, and ultimately, wealth. One of the first and most important financial habits to develop is saving consistently, even if it's a small amount. Many people believe that saving money is only possible when they earn more, but the truth is, saving is a habit that should be built regardless of income level. Even saving just 1% more of your income each month can lead to significant financial growth over time. If you currently save nothing, start by setting aside just $5 or $10 each week. It may not seem like much at first, but the act of saving, no matter how small, trains your brain to prioritize financial security. As you build the habit, you can gradually increase the amount, and before you know it, saving money will feel effortless. Another essential principle in financial growth is understanding and controlling expenses. Many people assume that earning more money is the only way to become financially successful, but in reality, how you manage your money is more important than how much you make. People with high incomes can still struggle financially if they lack control over their spending. A simple 1% improvement in financial discipline is to track your expenses, write down or use an app to monitor where your money goes each month. Even reviewing your spending for a few minutes each week can reveal unnecessary expenses that can be redirected towards savings or investments. Small changes, like cutting one unnecessary subscription, brewing coffee at home instead of buying it daily, or packing lunch instead of eating out, can add up to thousands of dollars saved per year. A powerful financial growth habit is paying yourself first. This means saving a percentage of your income before spending on anything else. Many people try to save whatever is left at the end of the month, but more often than not, there's nothing left. Instead, set up automatic transfers so that a portion of your income goes into a savings or investment account before you even see it. Even if you start with just 1% of your paycheck, this habit ensures that you prioritize building wealth rather than just covering expenses. Over time, as your income grows, you can increase the percentage, but the key is to make saving non-negotiable. Another critical area of financial improvement is eliminating debt. Debt, especially high-interest debt like credit cards, can be one of the biggest obstacles to financial freedom. Many people feel overwhelmed by debt and assume they can never escape it, but even small, consistent payments toward debt make a huge difference over time. A 1% financial improvement strategy is to pay just a little extra on your debt each month. If you can only afford the minimum payment now, try adding just $10 or $20 extra per month. This might seem small, but over time, it can reduce interest costs significantly and help you become debt-free faster. Investing is another key pillar of financial growth. Yet many people avoid it because they believe it's too complicated or risky. However, you don't need to be an expert to start investing. You just need to start small. One of the easiest ways to build wealth over time is through compound interest, where your money earns interest, and then that interest earns interest on itself. Even small investments, when given enough time, can grow into significant amounts. If you've never invested before, a simple 1% step is to set aside a small amount, maybe $50 or $100 a month, into a long-term investment account. Many brokerage platforms allow for automatic contributions, so you can set it and forget it. Over time, these contributions grow into a strong financial foundation. Another overlooked financial habit is increasing your financial literacy. Many people never learn about money, and as a result, they make decisions based on fear, misinformation, or bad financial habits learned from others. The 1% approach to financial education is to learn just a little bit more about money every day. This could mean reading a personal finance book, listening to a financial podcast, or watching a short video about investing, budgeting, or wealth building. Even dedicating just 5 minutes a day to learning about finances can radically shift your mindset over time, giving you the confidence to make smarter money decisions. One of the most powerful 1% financial improvements is finding ways to increase your income. While saving and budgeting are important, increasing your earnings allows you to grow wealth faster without feeling restricted. A small but effective step is to identify one way each month to add to your income. This could be negotiating a small raise at work, taking on a freelance project, selling unused items online, or starting a side hustle. Even an extra $50 or $100 a month can be redirected towards savings, investments, or debt repayment, accelerating financial progress. Mindset plays a crucial role in financial success. Many people have limiting beliefs about money, such as "I'll never be rich" or "money is hard to earn." These beliefs often keep people stuck in financial mediocrity. The 1% financial mindset shift is to start thinking about money as a tool for growth and security, rather than as a source of stress. Instead of fearing money or avoiding financial discussions, develop a mindset of abundance, one where money is viewed as something that can be earned, grown, and used wisely. Small mental shifts, such as being grateful for the money you have, or focusing on financial goals rather than financial fears, can make a profound difference over time. Financial growth is not about overnight success or drastic lifestyle changes. It's about building small, consistent money habits that compound over time. Saving just a little more, spending a little less, paying down debt consistently, and investing small amounts all add up to financial freedom. The key is to start today, not with overwhelming changes, but with a simple step toward financial improvement. What is one small financial habit you can improve right now? Whether it's setting aside $5, cutting an unnecessary expense, reading a personal finance book, or investing a small amount, one action sets the stage for long-term financial success. At its core, financial security and wealth building are about discipline, consistency, and small daily improvements. The 1% rule ensures that no matter where you are financially, you can take control of your future one step at a time. Over time, these small actions create a life of financial independence, stability, and abundance. The choice is yours. Start today, and let small financial improvements lead you to lasting financial success. Chapter 9. The Role of Lifelong Learning. The 1% Approach to Continuous Growth. Knowledge is one of the most powerful tools for transformation. Every breakthrough in personal and professional life stems from learning, acquiring new information, skills, and perspectives that enable you to grow. However, many people stop learning after formal education ends. They assume that once they graduate or reach a certain level of expertise, they no longer need to seek knowledge. This mindset leads to stagnation. The most successful individuals in the world, whether in business, sports, science, or the arts, are those who commit to lifelong learning. They understand that continuous growth is not about gaining knowledge once, but about improving by 1% every day. The 1% rule applies to learning in the same way it applies to health, relationships, and financial success. Small, consistent efforts lead to extraordinary results over time. One of the biggest misconceptions about learning is that it requires formal education, structured courses, or expensive degrees. In reality, learning happens every day, in every experience, and in every challenge you face. The key is to become an active learner, someone who seeks knowledge intentionally, rather than passively absorbing information without applying it. A simple 1% improvement in learning is to set aside just 10 more 15 minutes a day to learn something new. It could be reading a book, listening to a podcast, watching an educational video, or even reflecting on past experiences to extract valuable lessons. Over time, these small daily efforts compound, leading to a mindset of continuous self-improvement. One of the most effective ways to learn faster is through deliberate learning. Unlike passive learning, where people consume information without purpose, deliberate learning involves setting clear learning goals, actively engaging with material, and applying knowledge in real life. If you want to improve a skill, don't just read about it, practice it. If you want to learn a new language, don't just memorize vocabulary, speak with native speakers. If you want to become financially literate, don't just watch videos, apply what you learn by making small investments or tracking your expenses. The 1% learning approach is about small but consistent actions that turn knowledge into mastery. Another important principle in lifelong learning is the power of curiosity. Many people limit their growth because they only learn what is required, whether for their job, career, or immediate tasks. But true intellectual expansion comes from exploring beyond necessity. Some of the greatest innovators in history, such as Leonardo da Vinci, Steve Jobs, and Elon Musk, had an insatiable curiosity that led them to learn across disciplines. They did not confine themselves to a single field. They explored diverse topics, drawing connections between different areas of knowledge. A 1% curiosity habit is to ask more questions and seek knowledge beyond your immediate field. Instead of scrolling through social media mindlessly, look up an interesting topic. Instead of sticking to one genre of books, explore new subjects. The more curious you become, the more your brain develops the ability to connect ideas and innovate. One of the biggest barriers to learning is fear of failure. Many people avoid learning new skills because they fear looking inexperienced, making mistakes, or struggling in the beginning. But failure is an essential part of learning. Just like a child learning to walk falls multiple times before mastering the skill, learning anything new requires mistakes and setbacks. The 1% improvement mindset in learning is to embrace the discomfort of being a beginner. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," shift your mindset to "I'm in the process of getting better." Every expert was once a beginner, and the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is their willingness to persist despite early struggles. Another crucial element of lifelong learning is surrounding yourself with people who challenge and inspire you. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." If you surround yourself with people who constantly learn, grow, and push their limits, you will naturally adopt the same mindset. On the other hand, if you spend time with people who resist change and avoid challenges, you will find it harder to push yourself. A 1% improvement strategy is to seek out mentors, join learning communities, or engage with individuals who inspire you to grow. The learning is contagious. When you are in an environment that encourages growth, you will naturally absorb that energy. One of the most effective ways to retain what you learn is by teaching others. Research has shown that when people teach what they learn, they retain up to 90% of the information. This is because explaining a concept forces you to process, simplify, and reinforce your understanding. A simple 1% learning habit is to share what you learn with someone else, whether it's a friend, a family member, or through writing and social media. If you read a great book, summarize it in a conversation. If you learn a valuable skill, teach it to someone. Teaching not only solidifies your knowledge, but also helps others grow in the process. In today's digital world, access to knowledge has never been easier, yet many people fail to take advantage of it. The internet provides countless opportunities for free and low-cost learning, from online courses and audiobooks to TED Talks and research papers. However, the abundance of information can also be overwhelming, leading to information overload rather than true learning. A 1% improvement strategy is to focus on depth rather than just consuming random content. Instead of aimlessly watching videos or reading articles without a purpose, choose one skill or topic to master at a time and dedicate focused effort to it. Mastery is built through intentional learning, repetition, and application. Another overlooked aspect of learning is developing critical thinking skills. In an age where misinformation spreads easily, blindly accepting information without questioning it can be dangerous. A 1% improvement habit is to ask critical questions about everything you learn. Who is the source? What evidence supports this claim? How does this connect to what I already know? By developing the habit of thinking critically rather than just absorbing information, you become a more intelligent, independent, and adaptable learner. Lifelong learning is not just about career advancement or acquiring knowledge for practical use. It is about keeping your mind sharp, adaptable, and open to growth. People who continue learning throughout their lives maintain mental agility, stay relevant in their fields, and experience greater personal fulfillment. The 1% rule ensures that learning never stops. It becomes a lifelong journey of continuous growth. The question to ask yourself is, how can I improve my learning habits by just 1% today? It could be reading one page of a book, listening to a podcast while commuting, or writing down one new thing you learned at the end of the day. Whatever it is, start small, Stay consistent, and let the power of compounding knowledge shape your future. Ultimately, your ability to learn is your greatest asset. The world is constantly changing, and those who commit to lifelong learning are the ones who thrive. Whether you are developing a new skill, deepening your expertise, or simply expanding your knowledge, the key is to keep moving forward, one lesson, one insight, and one step at a time. The journey of learning never ends, and the best part, you only need to focus on getting 1% better every day. Chapter 10. Sustaining Motivation and Overcoming Plateaus. The Key to Long-Term Growth. Motivation is often seen as the driving force behind success. People believe that if they could just stay motivated, they would be able to achieve anything. But motivation is not constant. It comes and goes, influenced by external circumstances, emotions, and even biological factors. This is why so many people start strong in their pursuit of goals, whether in fitness, career, learning, or personal growth, only to lose momentum when their initial excitement fades. The real key to lifelong progress is not just motivation but discipline, systems, and the ability to push through plateaus. The 1% rule ensures that even when motivation is low, you continue making progress, because instead of relying on bursts of inspiration, you build consistent habits and a structure that supports long-term growth. One of the biggest challenges people face is hitting plateaus, the point where progress slows down and results seem stagnant. Whether it's in fitness, skill building, financial growth, or personal development, progress is rarely linear. The mistake many people make is assuming that a plateau means failure, when in reality, it is a natural part of the growth process. When we first start something new, progress often comes quickly. The excitement of learning a new skill, starting a new routine, or chasing a fresh goal gives us energy. But over time, the initial gains slow down, and the effort required to improve increases. This is where most people quit. They assume they have reached their limit, when in reality, they are on the verge of a breakthrough. To sustain motivation and push through plateaus, one of the most effective strategies is tracking progress, no matter how small. When you don't see immediate results, it's easy to feel like you're not improving. However, growth happens in the background, often in ways that are not immediately visible. A simple 1% improvement strategy is to measure your progress in small increments, whether it's tracking your workouts, journaling your achievements, or keeping a log of your learning progress. When you look back over weeks or months, you will see just how much progress has actually been made. Even if improvement is slow, consistent effort over time always leads to significant results. Another powerful way to sustain motivation is celebrating small wins. Many people only reward themselves when they reach big milestones, but the problem with this approach is that major successes take time. If you only celebrate when you reach the final goal, you may lose motivation along the way. Instead, acknowledge and appreciate every small victory. If you exercised consistently for a week, if you saved a little more money, if you learned a new concept, these are all achievements worth recognizing. The act of celebrating small wins reinforces positive behavior, making it more likely that you will continue pushing forward. One of the most important lessons in sustaining motivation is understanding that discipline is more reliable than motivation. Motivation is based on emotion, which fluctuates daily, but discipline is based on commitment. Think about elite athletes. They don't train only when they feel like it. They have routines, schedules, and habits that they follow regardless of their mood. The same applies to any form of self-improvement. If you rely only on motivation, you will make progress inconsistently. But if you build habits and routines that make progress automatic, you eliminate the need for willpower. A 1% improvement approach is to design your environment and schedule in a way that supports consistency. If you want to read more, leave books in visible places. If you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nutritious food. If you want to work out consistently, set your gym clothes out the night before. These small adjustments remove the need for constant decision-making, making it easier to stay on track. Another crucial factor in maintaining motivation is adapting to setbacks rather than letting them stop you. Many people fall into the trap of all or nothing thinking, believing that if they miss one workout, break their diet for a day, or skip a study session, they have failed. This mindset is what kills long-term progress. The reality is, setbacks are inevitable. What matters is how you respond to them. A simple but effective rule is never miss twice. If you skip one workout, make sure you don't skip the next. If you have a bad eating day, make the next meal healthy. If you neglect a habit for a day, return to it the next day. A single setback will never ruin your progress, but letting that setback turn into a habit of quitting will. Another critical aspect of sustaining long-term growth is keeping your goals exciting and evolving. Sometimes, the reason motivation fades is that goals become too routine or uninspiring. If you feel like you're stuck in a repetitive cycle, introduce new challenges, variations, or higher-level goals. If you've been following the same workout routine for months, try a new sport or training method. If your job feels stagnant, look for ways to expand your skills or take on new responsibilities. If personal development feels repetitive, explore new subjects or creative outlets. Keeping things fresh and engaging prevents stagnation and keeps you excited about improvement. Accountability is another game changer for sustaining motivation. When you share your goals with someone else, whether a friend, coach, mentor, or online community, you increase your commitment. When progress is private, it's easy to let things slide. But when you have someone checking in on you, you feel a greater sense of responsibility to keep going. A 1% improvement strategy is to create accountability systems, join a group, find a training partner, set deadlines, or use progress tracking apps. The more external reinforcement you have, the more likely you are to stay consistent. Another important concept for pushing through plateaus is focusing on process over results. Many people get discouraged because they focus only on the outcome: how much weight they lost, how much money they saved, how much knowledge they gained. While outcomes are important, they are not always immediate. Instead of obsessing over the end goal, shift your focus to the daily process. If you focus on consistently following good habits, results will come naturally over time. A 1% mindset shift is to ask, did I improve today, even if just slightly? If the answer is yes, you are on the right path. One final but crucial factor in sustaining motivation is practicing gratitude for the progress you've already made. Many people get so focused on what they haven't achieved that they forget to appreciate how far they've come. Reflecting on past achievements reminds you that you are capable of growth and improvement, reinforcing the belief that you can continue progressing. A 1% gratitude habit is to take just 1 minute a day to acknowledge something you've improved on, no matter how small. This practice shifts your mindset from one of frustration to one of appreciation, making the journey feel fulfilling rather than frustrating. Sustaining motivation and overcoming plateaus is not about finding endless energy or willpower. It is about building systems, reinforcing small improvements, tracking progress, celebrating small wins, and staying adaptable to setbacks. The 1% rule ensures that even on the days when motivation is low, progress still happens. You don't need to rely on bursts of inspiration, you just need to keep moving forward, one small step at a time. The question to ask yourself is, what is one tiny action I can take today to continue my progress? Whether it's doing one push-up, writing one sentence, making one healthy choice, or learning one new fact, that single step keeps you in motion. The key to lifelong growth is consistency over time, and the secret to staying motivated is simple. Just focus on getting 1% better every day. Conclusion. The journey of becoming 1% better every day is not about making huge, overwhelming changes overnight. It is about committing to small, consistent improvements, the kind that seem insignificant in the moment but lead to massive transformation over time. The secret to long-term success, whether in personal development, health, finances, relationships, or learning, is not in perfection but in progress. It is in the daily effort to be just a little bit better than you were yesterday. Over time, these tiny improvements compound, leading to exponential results that shape the trajectory of your life. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a short period and underestimate what they can accomplish over the long run. This is why so many people get frustrated when they don't see instant results. They expect drastic changes within weeks, and when that doesn't happen, they give up. But true, meaningful progress follows a different pattern. It is slow and invisible at first, but as momentum builds, it becomes unstoppable. Imagine a plane that adjusts its course by just 1 degree. At first, the difference is imperceptible, but over time that tiny shift leads to a completely different destination. Your life works the same way. The small choices you make today, your habits, mindset, and actions, determine where you will be in the future. The 1% rule is powerful because it removes the pressure of having to change everything at once. It allows you to focus on what is manageable, sustainable, and realistic. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the enormity of a goal, you focus on one small action, one better decision, one step forward. If you want to get in shape, you don't need to commit to extreme diets and grueling workouts. You just need to move a little more, eat a little better, sleep a little earlier. If you want to build wealth, you don't need to make drastic financial sacrifices. You just need to save a little more, invest a little smarter, spend a little wiser. If you want to improve your relationships, you don't need to become a completely different person overnight. You just need to listen a little better, express appreciation a little more, communicate a little clearer. These small, seemingly minor actions, when repeated over time, create an unstoppable force of progress. One of the biggest lessons from this journey is that growth is not linear. There will be times when you feel like you're not making progress, when the results seem stagnant, and when doubt starts creeping in. But this is exactly when persistence matters most. Progress often happens beneath the surface, just like water slowly erodes rock over time. The compound effect of daily improvement may not be immediately visible, but it is always at work. The key is to trust the process, stay committed, and keep going, even when progress feels slow. Another important realization is that failures and setbacks are not signs of failure but signs of progress. No one achieves greatness without stumbling along the way. Every successful person, whether an athlete, entrepreneur, artist, or scientist, has faced countless failures. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of failure, but the willingness to learn from it and keep moving forward. When you encounter obstacles, don't see them as roadblocks, see them as lessons. Instead of giving up, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? What small adjustment can I make? These questions shift your mindset from frustration to growth, allowing you to turn setbacks into stepping stones. One of the most transformative aspects of applying the 1% rule is the way it redefines success. Success is often perceived as a grand moment, a finish line, a major achievement, or public recognition. But in reality, success is not a single event. Success is the result of small, daily victories that build upon each other over time. It is waking up and making better choices, committing to continuous learning, and staying disciplined even when no one is watching. The most successful people in any field are not the ones who worked the hardest for a short period, but the ones who remained consistent for the longest period. Another fundamental truth is that your habits shape your future. The small, repeated actions you take each day determine the quality of your life. If you want to see where you'll be in 5 years, look at your current habits. Are they leading you toward the life you want? If not, the good news is that you have the power to change them, starting with just a 1% shift. The key is to make small adjustments that are easy to sustain but significant enough to create long-term change. Over time, these habits become automatic, and when that happens, success becomes effortless. One of the most rewarding aspects of this journey is that it never ends. Growth is not a destination, it is a lifelong process. The moment you stop improving, you start declining. The beauty of continuous self-improvement is that there is always room to grow, learn, and become better. No matter how much you achieve, there will always be new skills to master, new challenges to overcome, and new levels of success to reach. This mindset keeps life exciting, fulfilling, and full of endless possibilities. At this point, the question is not whether you can improve, it is whether you are willing to commit to the journey. The power of the 1% rule lies in its simplicity. It does not require extreme discipline, massive effort, or drastic changes. It requires only one thing: commitment to being slightly better today than you were yesterday. That's it. If you can do that, if you can consistently strive for small daily improvements, then success is inevitable. So, where do you start? Right here, right now. Ask yourself, what is one small action I can take today to improve? It could be reading for 5 minutes, drinking an extra glass of water, reaching out to a friend, waking up 5 minutes earlier, or writing down a goal. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a step forward. Once you take that step, take another one tomorrow, and another the next day. This is how transformation happens, not through sudden massive changes, but through small consistent actions that build unstoppable momentum. As you move forward, remember this: you are always in control of your growth. No one else is responsible for your success. No one else will put in the effort for you. But the moment you decide to take ownership of your progress, everything changes. The 1% rule is your blueprint for lifelong growth. It is the secret to mastery, success, and personal fulfillment. It is the difference between a life of mediocrity and a life of greatness. So go forward with confidence. Trust in the process. Stay patient. Keep improving, even when progress feels slow. And above all, never stop striving to be just 1% better every day. Because the truth is, small improvements, when done consistently, lead to extraordinary results. And in the end, they shape the life you've always wanted. The journey is yours to take. The question is, are you ready to begin?